Hello and welcome to the Congo Hour. My name is Trippy. Joined this evening with my dad, Sammy. We're going to take a little break from our from our usual conversations this evening. Wayna isn't here. She is home studying, and she has some important exams coming up. So we definitely want to wish her well in her school efforts. But tonight we're going to talk about the funeral home. We're going to talk about the history of our funeral home, our relationship with the community, and our vision for Congo Funeral Home in the future. Dad, what's going on, man?
Well, I guess tonight we're going to go back down memory lane.
Okay.
And
right.
Just kind of think about how blessed we've been to join this community in a service that's surely needed, but how well we've been received. And then I'd also like to talk about the fact that we've done well, but at the same time, how we've contributed back to the community,
right,
and how grateful we are that we're able to really do that. And in doing that, how we have collected so many friends that have felt that we were doing the right thing and have joined in as volunteers. And people have just written tons and tons of letters just to say thank you. And we're kind of saying the same thing. At the same time, we'd like to share with the community some of our new initiatives in our drive and our need to upgrade just what we're doing, and how important it is to do that.
Right.
Because it's a changing world. And we've got a planning group that meets every morning that is really trying to fine-tune and try to what we call eliminate all preventables, because we just realize how important this occasion is for a family.
Right.
And just taking it as business as usual, we can't do that. So we have to put in all kinds of initiatives to make sure that we're failure-free, could I say that. So, just go ahead on, and I'll pop in whenever I can.
Yeah, I mean, it is important that I guess we have always realized the importance that we have in our role in the community that we serve, and how it is a time, probably one of the worst times of a family's life. And we're there to assist them through it and help them through it. And we just have to we take that role really seriously, and we're just improving. We're trying to think of ways to do it better, to let the families know, that the community know that we appreciate the confidence that they have always had in us. I guess first, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, you want to just let the community know how you started in business, how you got started.
Well, I was blessed to be born in a funeral home family.
Right.
And I got so much experience from that, although back in those days they didn't have beepers and cell phones and all that. You were really confined to home. And I wasn't sure at 21, 22 years old that I wanted to be that confined. Until I started working for Edward R. Bell, which was my uncle, in a very small part-time way to earn a little extra money, and found out that it was really made me feel good to serve people. And I did so well with that he said to me that he wanted me to be an apprentice and work for him full time, and in fact lead his funeral home in the future.
Right.
And so I decided I was going to try to do that, and so Sherry and a group of her friends decided that they would help me while I went to school to make sure that my job was not hindered by me doing that. So for 1 year, Cherry and about 10 other people, we kind of restructured it and went out and got some additional dollars, and we created little programs. And in fact, it was said to me that that the Y ran better when I wasn't there. So they did a great job, and when I came back, I went back to work at the Y and started working again for Uncle Ed. And then in 1975, some people, as you know, you work in groups, and when you look like you're successful, people get jealous. So there was a little jealousy that took place, and so we decided that we were going to try it on our own. Mm-hmm. And so we did, and in in fact, it was Easter, 1975, 41 years ago, we opened up. And we opened up with one of the only funeral homes that were built as a funeral home in our community. So we were lucky to inherit that from Mrs. Gray. Mm-hmm. And Mrs. Gray was able to do that because of her what they called urban renewal some years ago. And she was granted money to build the funeral home. And she had a black architect, Cal Hamilton, who did a fantastic job for a funeral home that long ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, people were just taking houses because you know how difficult it was to get money from banks back in those days. Black businesses just were not able to convince the banks that they were secure enough to lend the kind of money that it took to build that kind of facility. But she gained hers by selling her business, or selling not the business but the facility, because it was in the way of urban renewal. So I think she did well, and she was able to just kind of take that money and build the funeral home that we now call the home office area. Mm-hmm. And we just kept expanding until we were able to buy the whole block, which made it convenient. And at first, as we expanded, we needed more room, so we were able to buy other buildings, and the buildings that we now is now our main office. Right. And then we did a lot of work for DuPont. We took a little kind of a slant to the side back in 1980. I think it was in the 80s, early 80s, that kind of hindered us a little bit. And I wish today that we had not done that. But the experience that I got out of it allowed me to move the way that we're moving today in the professional way, right, by working for the corporate people. Mm-hmm. And they were able to put all kinds of information in our organization that we could never have afforded to have had in order to get our people really set up on a standard that I think is worldwide high. Mm-hmm.
So when you and Mom first went into business, if I can, before we go, I want to ask Alvin or Keisha in the control room to put up the funeral home's phone number across the screen, just in case anyone has any questions. 652-8887. 652-8887. But that first year that you and Mom went into business, you were able to do, I believe, something that no other funeral home, I'm not sure locally or maybe nationally, was able to do in that time. You did you serviced 100 families. And is that local? Is that a local?
No, that's a national. Okay. A national first year. Mm-hmm. number
Right.
that we did. There was no funeral home that they had on record that the first year did the amount of calls that we did.
And and that was 100 calls. Well, 100, we served 100 families. Why do you
Somewhere
think
in that area.
Why do you think that you were able to do that?
I think that we brought to Wilmington a standard that was not traditional. We, because of my experience corporate, we were able to come up with a new way of doing business, very professional, where people really appreciated being served that well. And the word got out, and so we were able to get a tremendous support from you know, the community. But I think that a lot of it was I was almost known everywhere. I was known in Middletown, so we got Middletown business, Elkton business, Newark business. That was my real where I grew up. So they supported me 100%. And then by going to school in Wilmington, I got to know a lot of folk. And I'll tell you what helped me to get that standard. The YMCA was a facility that really served people well. And there were people that served on that board that were kind of well respected. And so by me knowing them, and we began to get services for people like that, we gained a new perspective because of my relationship with that YMCA board. And I give that board and those people on the board a lot of credit for helping me out.
What about your staff back then? What do you think set the Congo Funeral Home staff apart from other funeral homes locally?
Well, it took us, I guess we bought the building in November or somewhere around that time. And while we were building, we decided to have a real select group of people. And we were going to try to make sure that that group of people had the same values that we had. And so we were very happy and excited to serve with that group of people.
Right.
And we knew that they were committed because they worked 2 years for free. And we wanted a committed people who had a passion for what we were doing. And so we couldn't find that out without testing them. And that test was, are you willing to work 2 years for free to get us to where we needed? There was two sides of that penny. The other side was we didn't have any money to pay them. So so we had fun doing that. And after that, some of them went on about their merry way and went. Well, most of them had jobs, but because at that time most funerals were in the evenings.
Right.
So it was rare to have a daytime funeral. So they could help us in the evenings, and weekends were very hot at that time.
I guess that's something that has remained with us at the funeral home. It's just being very selective about who we bring on to help us serve our families, and I guess we take it really very serious about how just the people that we bring on. We require them to come and work funerals for free before we allow them to. I guess we require them to come and observe. Not work funerals, but observe 10 funerals. Just to make sure that they're the right match for our families and for the rest of the staff. And a lot of people are, taken back by it because they don't really understand why we require, that type of dedication. And it's all because we want to make sure that they're the right people that we're putting with our families, because we only want the best for our families. And those, a lot of people fall, like you say, a lot of people fall by the wayside because a lot of people, I think a lot of people have a misconception about what working at a funeral home is about. A lot of people think that it's just dressing up in a suit and being, being handsome or being pretty, but it's much more than that. It's a lot of customer service, and it's a lot of caring. And in that 10 observation funeral period, we're able to weed out people who we don't think are going to be a good match because we've always wanted the best for our families because, like we said earlier, they're going through one of the most difficult times in their lives. We want to make sure that they're being cared for with the utmost respect and attention. But those who have made it, are usually still with us because they have proven that they're dedicated, that they're sensitive to families' needs, and that they're team players. And it's something that I guess you started back in the early days, and we just never strayed from that because it's I think it's a great process just to see who is really dedicated to serving, and that's really what funeral service is all about in my eyes. It's just about serving that family and just helping that transition period in their lives to be as smooth as possible with our assistance.
Yeah, I guess we still carry the brand of caring, and we have an inside, I guess, slogan that we use that people don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Right.
And so that passion has carried over for years, and we still feel that is probably the most element of all the things that we do, and we keep a real strong. We just keep that in the minds of all of our people.
Right.
And there's something else that we like to believe, and that's considering yourself as the customer. And for those who have had death in their family, understand the real tragic experience and how tender it is, and how much is necessary to give. I mean, we have to do a lot of giving and thinking and caring and understanding, and it has worked for us. We surely have not always been, everybody hasn't really understood, and I think that sometimes there's people who just don't want us. And no matter what we do, we couldn't satisfy them at all.
Right. That's understandable.
It's probably a prejudice that they don't want Congo. They've got friends other places, and somebody in the family wanted us, and so they go around picking and finding every kind of little thing. But that's a very rare thing that has happened. We've, as you know, continued to grow. We've grown almost every year by leaps and bounds ever since we've been in business.
Right.
One of the things I think that I would like to straighten out about Congo Funeral Home, and that is that we are expensive.
Right.
That is a myth. And I guess because we were so far ahead of everybody else, and the way I guess the way we looked, the way we carried ourselves, and all the little things that we did, most folks thought that you had to really pay a lot of money to get Congo. But as well, in today's world, a lot of people are shopping around.
Right.
And we probably get 90% of the people who shop around come back to us.
And I think that's for a few reasons. One is, it is because of our costs. It's not as high as people think. Once they come in and they talk to us, they realize that most of the time we're the least expensive.
That's right.
All right. And I guess another thing is that when they do come and talk to us, our family and our staff, they find us to be just very caring. And I think that is probably the most rewarding thing to hear, is that if from a family that has shopped around, that comes back and says that they just feel at home when they come to the Congo Funeral Home, and they know that we care, and that's I think that's a thing that you have instilled in all of us, in the family and in the staff, and that we just continue to put at the forefront of anyone who works with us, family or friends, that you said it earlier, people don't care what you know until they know that you care, and that when people know that we care and that we're going to help them out financially, because we know that people aren't always prepared to to have a full funeral service for their loved ones. So we offer so many different options. We have payment plans, and we just know that could be us. So at the end of the day, we're going to help them through it, and we're not going to put an extra burden on that family just because of finances. And I think people really have come to know that about us and appreciate it. And so that's why we have payment plans, and we work out payments for families so they can still honor their loved one in a decent manner. And that has just come back. It's been very rewarding just to know that families do appreciate the options that we have, and they appreciate us being able to work out things financially with them. And I think people get the wrong idea, because we do have, in my opinion, the best facility locally in Wilmington, and we always have, as far as accommodations, and we try to always have the best cars. We just got new cars, so in people's minds they're thinking that the cost of funerals just went up at Congo Funeral Home, but that has never been the case. We just always try to help our families celebrate their loved ones in the best possible way. So we thought that it was only right for us to go and get new cars, and we changed our color recently. You want to talk about that?
This is your day.
Okay. All right. So yes, recently we changed from our traditional color has always been silver, and you can tell. You want to tell the audience about the silver color?
Sure.
All right.
As we've also mentioned, that when we first started, we did not have a nickel. Mm-hmm. We built on faith, mm-hmm. And we have a guy by the name of, most of you in the city would know him as a policeman. His name was Bobby Henderson, mm-hmm. And we did not have a vehicle that would serve in a funeral, because our cars were all old and beat up. And so Bobby had a new silver Tornado, mm-hmm. And that Tornado was our funeral car that was silver for a long time. And eventually we were able to get some used cars, and eventually we were able to buy brand new cars. But our silver was based on Bobby's car being silver, mm-hmm. And we just kept that tradition of that silver car.
And even then, the silver stood apart from other funeral homes that usually
That's true.
Had traditionally used darker colors.
Mm-hmm.
So we just wanted to, again, I guess that was something that you wanted to stick with silver, because it kind of set us apart from the other funeral homes. And you also had female drivers back then.
Yeah,
You want to
sure
talk about
did.
that? You want to talk about that?
Well, what have you heard?
No, just that traditionally the drivers of the cars have always been, and I guess workers in the funeral industry have always been men.
Well, what we found out early as we was opening, that ladies have a softer touch, mm-hmm. And they were more willing to give service than men. So we had nothing but ladies driving, because we wanted to give the ultimate in service, mm-hmm. And we wanted to make sure that they were polite, and they were caring and sharing and sensitive, and women still drive our limousine, mm-hmm. and some of our other cars, mm-hmm. But we got away from just all female drivers to just the limousine drivers are now ladies.
Right. All right.
There are so many things that have happened to us on our journey to get to where we are today.
I don't mean to cut you off, but going back to the cars, we recently changed the color. So that's what we were talking about.
Oh.
Yeah, we changed the color to white.
Yes.
and has been really accepted very well from the community. So we just want to thank everyone who has had a chance to see our new fleet of white cars, white hearses, and limousines, and escort cars, and it's really gone over well. Something that we just want to do, just again, just to stay ahead of the curve and to to keep things fresh and customer service oriented. And the families love, and the community really loves those white cars. So.
Well, I think the dark cars are okay if you're driving the, like your chauffeurs and all that. But we're trying to take that sting away a little bit. And so we wanted to uplift a little more than just riding around in a dark, shiny limousine.
Right.
And I think that even when we had silver, people appreciated that move from the black to the silver because there weren't many funeral homes, and there still aren't many funeral homes that don't still traditionally use the black.
Right. Right. So again, we just wanted to help the families, celebrate their loved one's life, and we think that white combination just helps them do that. We're going to take a quick break, if that's okay. We're going to show some of, I think, a pre-need commercial.
Okay.
From that Kim has, and then we'll come back and talk about the importance of pre-arrangements. Okay?
Yes, sir. Sounds wonderful.
All right. We'll be right back.
Hi, it's me, Kim, the pre-planning specialist at Congo Funeral Home. So I'm here to remind everybody the importance of planning your funeral in advance. And I know it's not always a topic that we want to discuss, but I promise to make it something easy and, believe it or not, fun. And once you have completed your pre-planning, it's going to be so much relief, because so many of us, even though we don't discuss it, it's in our minds. So many are watching right now saying, oh, I wanted to call Kim, or even worse, I've been waiting for Kim to get back to me. Promise I'm getting back to you. I need you to get to me, and we're going to make this work for you. We're going to get your pre-planning done, and then you're just going to enjoy life, because that's what we do once we finish planning. I've got payment options. So again, anyone who is between 0 and 115, so any health conditions, any financial conditions, so we have a way to make it work out for you. We're going to make easy monthly payments. We're going to pay for them only for 10 years at the very most. So again, we want to do this as early as possible, preferably before you retire and your income changes. You get the benefit of a lifetime, but you're only paying for a short time. No health conditions, none, no physicals, nothing that you have to do like that. So it's really important, and you get the peace of mind of knowing you selected what you want. We have fun telling your story, and it's very easy. All you have to do is call me, 302-652-8887. You can always go to our website at Congo Funeral Home. For those who haven't noticed, we have really updated our website, and I have a pre-planning link and forms that you can complete, and then we'll get back to you. So for those of you who want to start off slow, just go to the website. But everybody should take time to start thinking about and then acting on that pre-plan. Again, 302-652-8887. I can come to you. You can come to the office any day of the week. We're always ready. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you.
All right, welcome back. We hope that you enjoyed that commercial from my sister Kim, and you got some valuable information from it. Just before we talk about pre-arrangements, Dad, I want to just go back to the funeral home and just kind of recap about how good the community has been to us. And for that, we're able to give back. And I think that's what our funeral home is really known for, is our contributions back to the community that has been so good to us. And I think that we were one of the first funeral homes to just be really involved in the community as far as having community days, community cleanups, taking kids to, children to different amusement parks. Even when I was a little guy, doing the seniors cookout. Just so many things that we have done for the community. Just thanking them for entrusting, their family members in our care for such a long time. And I think that goes a long way because people know that we're sincere about our care for Wilmington and the surrounding area, and it just feels good just to get back in the community and just do things for people who we see every day, and it's a good feeling to know that people count on us for that and that we're able to help them. I guess we get that from you, so we want to thank you for that, and that's just one of my and Kim and I's drives is to do it even better than you and Mom did. So we're constantly trying to come up with new ways to serve the community and give back to the community. So, and I guess you got a lot of that from working at the Y and working at fairs, and you just realize the importance of being part of the community and giving back and helping.
Trip, there's something that is very mysterious that I'm not sure of myself. But in the Bible, it speaks of tithing and giving. And in giving, it's something mysterious about how you give, and people believe that it's a return factor, and it's true. I have never heard of any system that gave and didn't profit big from it. So what we have decided long time ago was a part of whatever budget we have, a certain amount would always be set aside for giving. It may be just giving to help someone with a funeral. It may be just giving to make somebody happy that was down. And I remember that we had many events, like when Twin B. Brown came to us with his turkey drive. At that time, we had a staff of about 500 people. And not only did we give a turkey, we gave the full dinner. And of course, we had all kind of support there. And we took the dinners right up to the seniors or to the houses that had requested turkeys. And we did, if I don't want to give a number, but it was in the hundreds and hundreds of meals that were served. And we used our equipment because we had so many vehicles at that time and so many people that just volunteered to make that effort real. So the turkey drive today is nothing like the turkey drive that we started. Well, I must give Twin B. Brown his due respect, but it could not have reached the level that we had it because he just didn't have the staff and equipment. And so with our staff and our equipment and our support, we were able to do things like that. Our senior cookout, we felt that, and we decided that we were going to make it a sacrifice day. So we said that we were going to do it, and everybody wants to take Labor Day to have fun. We said, well, we need to give during that time. So it went from doing it at our house, and we always picked up the seniors in our vehicles and brought them to the house. Then it overran our house, so then we went to various churches, and we fully contributed whatever it took to feed that amount of people, 300 or 400 people. I don't know exactly the numbers.
Yeah, a little over 300.
But it is something that we enjoy doing. And you can remember in our local community at one time, now it's kind of community-wide, as we started with the guys over near the funeral home, taking them in those little vans to Great Adventure.
Oh, right. Yeah, when I was little.
When you was little, we took all the kids we wanted to give.
Right.
And then as we expanded, you went community-wide with the cleanup and rewarded the kids, but it wasn't so much the reward for cleaning, but so much to give for exposure. I remember you was telling me once that you can tell me the story again, because I don't remember all the detail of when you were taking a busload of kids to the Black Museum in Baltimore, and you wanted to know who was the president, and one of the kids said it was someone other than the president.
Oh, right.
And we thought that we need to do more and more and more of that, so we continued to give back and to reach as many young people as possible, to give them the exposure so that they would get a better understanding of life.
Right. And I guess that the whole community cleanup idea, it originated from when I was younger, and you and Mom would take all the kids around here, near our original location. You would just take us, just because you wanted us to have a great time. You would load up the shuttle buses and take us all up the Great Adventure. You did that for years, and the kids loved it. We all had a great time. But as I got older, I wanted to do the same thing, but I just wanted to add another element to it. So I had that's when the cleanup part came into play, because back then you just did it because you just wanted us to have a great time, and I did it for the same reason. But I wanted the children to for two things: to earn it, and also to realize their importance of keeping their community clean, or keeping Wilmington clean, because it's not always the children's community. We go to different areas throughout the city, and we get people in that community to clean up. So I just wanted to instill in them the importance of keeping their community clean and helping others to do the same. So we've been doing the community cleanup for I don't know how many years, but it's been well over 15, I think.
Well over 30 years.
Yeah. It's been very, very rewarding.
You was 15 or younger when we started that.
No, I mean as far as Wayna and I. Taking over and doing the community part. And I think our first time was over in South Bridge. It was in the 90s, I think. And we've been doing it every year since then. And it's a good feeling to know how the volunteers come out and help, and they don't even want to go on the trip. They just want to be a part of something positive. And all of our events have always been volunteer-driven. And it's good to know that people, I guess, appreciate what we're trying to do. And they come out and they give their time, especially on our community, our seniors cookout. We have so many volunteers who come out and just make that day a great day for the seniors. And it's so much fun. So if you're ever able to be a part of that community day, not the community day, but the seniors picnic, seniors cookout day, it's every Labor Day. It's a great time. The seniors love it. We get out there and we play all types of games, and we have a dance contest, and it's just a great time. It's a great time to be able to serve our seniors, who a lot of times on that day they don't have family members who are able to come in, that they're able to spend that day with. So sometimes they just stay in their rooms, and they're not able to enjoy it to its fullest. And I guess that was our main purpose, to give those seniors that time to have fun, just like the rest of the younger community. And it's been how long have we been doing that? When did we first start that at your house, at the house?
Oh my goodness!
That was the early '90s, maybe.
Yes, maybe before.
Yeah, and it's just been growing and growing ever since. And different things that we've always done just to kind of give back to the community. But I know we have to break and go to our funeral announcements, but I want to talk about the importance of the commercial that we just played of making pre-arrangements. You want to start with that?
Sure.
Okay.
The shocking of not only the public but to us is the cost and of having a funeral. This started way back where it just began to escalate, where it used to stay kind of flat. But when the conglomerates started buying up funeral homes, they began to just put in their own prices, and so it caused a lot of problems for funeral homes. And so in today's market, there are there are systems like insurance companies like that have gotten involved, and what they're saying is whatever today's cost, if you sign up today, and we want to keep in mind that we're just an agent for the insurance company. We do not take your money. That money is shipped off to an insurance company, and they invest it. So it helps your money to grow. And as cost escalates, we couldn't do that on our own. We couldn't say that 20 years from now we can keep it at the same price because we're not investors.
All right. I guess that's something that we need to educate the community about, is that when you do make a prearrangement and you start making payments, it locks the price in.
Yes.
So like you were just mentioning, if we've had funerals, we've had families who have made prearrangements for their loved ones back in the early 80s. And when that person has passed away, 20, 30 years later, that funeral still costs. That funeral cost stayed the same as if it were in the early 80s.
In the early 80s,
right, so
yes.
that's what you're alluding to.
Yeah, and that we don't have any idea what costs will be in the next 10 or 15 years.
Right.
And we're going to go through that cycle, and we're going to leave here. And when we leave here and we're not prepared, I am still under the illusion that people who have paid their dues or haven't paid their dues always deserve some sort of dignity. And I believe that no matter who you are, you get to do that if you have a funeral. I think that way back when, and I don't know when even exists, but they found out that kind of softened up the whole loss of a loved one. When you had the funeral, you were able to bring back a lot of tradition. Yesterday we had a funeral, and it was a traditional funeral where we had the funeral was in another church because it was a big funeral. And the funeral that the person went to, I mean the church that the person went to wasn't large enough. So we left that church because of tradition and went past that church and even went past the home of the deceased. And the family, it took a lot of toughness out of the whole loss to that family, because they were all talking about how happy he would have been to have gone by his church that he loved. It was a she, by the way, and went by the home, and it just took a lot of it took a lot of load off the family. And so that's the kind of I guess initiatives that we try to keep building and structuring to lighten that load. And I guess something else that we're quite proud of, Trip, before we take a break, I am proud of the fact that we have never turned a family down because they didn't have money. We've kind of made sure that all sides of it have been examined, and we give them time to find out whether they are able to do that or not. And it may not be as elaborate as they would like it.
Right, but they still get to celebrate.
We get to
Right,
celebrate
they
it.
celebrate their life.
And I can't remember ever turning anyone down.
Oh, no, 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 never. You would go crazy.
I would.
Yes,
I would.
And this is something that we have just taken on as a almost a culture in a Congo funeral home, that regardless of the person's ability to have an expensive funeral, or sometimes families have come to us with no money at all, but we just have to find a way to help them through and to help them to be able to celebrate their loved one's life. Like you said, maybe it can't be as elaborate. Sometimes there cannot be maybe not a burial, but we still want them to be able to celebrate with a funeral, and it's something that that we feel that we owe our community, who has been so good to us, that we have to help them through this process. And I think we just, money can't always be the first thing that we talk about, or the first thing at the forefront of everybody's minds. We give, like you said, we give the families a chance to decide what's going to be in their budget, and we help them through it. And families have been very appreciative of it.
You know, we as professional people, when we complete our training, doctors, nurses, there's an oath that we take.
Mm-hmm.
And many of us, whether it's a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, or a school teacher, or whatever it might be, I surely remember the oath that I took when I finished mortuary school. And it talked about serving the community. And so I keep that close to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And so although we still are a business and we have to pay the banks and everybody else that finance us,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time we have to remember that in that journey there are going to be people who don't fit into a certain category, and we have to help them along.
Mm-hmm.
In the Bible, the Good Samaritan was walking along, and there was a person that was kind of in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And the buddy heard it, but he said to the Good Samaritan, if you go over there, what do you think might happen to you?
Mm-hmm.
And the Good Samaritan said, if I don't, what might happen to him?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to take those kind of risks. And you have to be really committed to what you're doing. And every day we wake up, we take a risk. And thank God that most of our risks have been okay.
Mm-hmm.
in our going to find out what's wrong with that person that needs help.
Right.
So I take all that into consideration every day, and we've been blessed. And I'm thankful for doing that,
Mm-hmm.
and having people that allow us to do it.
Okay. Well, it's good talking to you. I appreciate the history lesson. We do have to take a break and get to our funeral announcements, though. So, but we'll continue it maybe in a few more weeks when we have some time. We have to set aside some more time. I think this is a very good conversation for us to have with the community, just so they know that we're here to serve, no matter the finances, that we're just going to help them through the difficult time in their lives.
You know, this is probably the first time in over 40 years that besides just running a film,
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about our services.
Right, that's true.
And so Shirley Kim does her thing, and we show some pictures of us having a funeral. But to talk about how important it is to the public,
Mm-hmm.
and what we strive to do, and what are the initiatives that we're on. I guess when we get back again, we're going to talk about those initiatives that we want to implement to even make it easier during this time for those people who have witnessed that tragedy.
Okay. And if anyone has any questions about what we talked about, any suggestions how we can serve even better, give us a call at the number that's on the screen, 652-8887, and my mom is going to answer the phone, and she'll be able to help you out. We'll take a quick break, and I'll be right back with our funeral announcements.
Hi, it's me, Kim, the pre-planning specialist at Congo Funeral Home. So I'm here to remind everybody the importance of planning your funeral in advance. And I know it's not always a topic that we want to discuss, but I promise to make it something easy and, believe it or not, fun. And once you have completed your pre-planning, it's going to be so much relief, because so many of us, even though we don't discuss it, it's in our minds. So many are watching right now saying, oh, I wanted to call Kim, or even worse, I've been waiting for Kim to get back to me. Promise I'm getting back to you. I need you to get to me, and we're going to make this work for you. We're going to get your pre-planning done, and then you're just going to enjoy life, because that's what we do once we finish planning. I've got payment options. So again, anyone who is between 0 and 115, so any health conditions, any financial conditions, so we have a way to make it work out for you. We're going to make easy monthly payments. We're going to pay for them only for 10 years at the very most. So again, we want to do this as early as possible, preferably before you retire and your income changes. You get the benefit of a lifetime, but you're only paying for a short time. No health conditions, none, no physicals, nothing that you have to do like that. So it's really important, and you get the peace of mind of knowing you selected what you want. We have fun telling your story, and it's very easy. All you have to do is call me, 302-652-8887. You can always go to our website at Congo Funeral Home. For those who haven't noticed, we have really updated our website, and I have a pre-planning link and forms that you can complete, and then we'll get back to you. So for those of you who want to start off slow, just go to the website. But everybody should take time to start thinking about and then acting on that pre-plan. Again, 302-652-8887. I can come to you. You can come to the office any day of the week. We're always ready. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, just before we have our funeral announcements, I'm just going to make a couple of community news announcements. On October the 8th, this coming Saturday, there's going to be the St. Peter Alumni Reception. It's going to be from 5 to 7 p.m. at the St. Peter Cathedral School, 310 West 6th Street. And they are inviting all classes to come and meet up with old friends and classmates to reminisce about the good old days. You can RSVP to alumni at St. Peter Cathedral School.org. And for more, there will be light refreshments served, and please spread the word. And once again, that's going to be this coming Saturday at the St. Peter Alumni Reception, St. Peter Cathedral School, 310 West 6th Street. And I think I have one more community news announcements. Also on this Sunday, October the 9th, there's going to be a register to vote drive. It's going to be on 4th and Jackson Streets. It's going to start at 9 a.m. and there will be people who speak Spanish there as well to help you get registered to vote. And for more information, you can contact Tamara Morris at morris@deldems.org. Morris@deldems.org. Once again, that's going to be this Sunday, October the 9th, starting at 9 a.m. on 4th and Jackson Street. Going to be a huge register to vote drive. So if you're already registered, get someone out there who is not. And if you're not, go out there and bring someone with you so that you will be able to vote in the upcoming election.